Welcome back, everybody. In the last couple of videos, we've been taking a look at what the chromatic scale is all about. And so far, we have talked about the chromatic scale as it pertains to sharps. We've also talked about how the chromatic scale pertains to flats. And today we're going to talk about something called enharmonic notes. That would be enharmonic notes. Enharmonic notes. Okay, so with enharmonic notes, the thing that we really want to understand is it's talking about two notes that have different names. I'm sorry, let me say that again. It's talking about one note that has two different names. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what are enharmonic notes. And so, for example, I'm going to box in some, and I can recognize that this set of notes would be considered enharmonic. C sharp is enharmonic to D flat. D sharp is enharmonic to E flat. F sharp is enharmonic to G flat. G sharp is enharmonic to A flat. And so those are the sets of enharmonic notes that we have. And what does that actually mean? It means that essentially at this level of the game, we want to consider that A sharp is equal to B flat. Now, I know a lot of music nerds who would kind of completely disagree with me, and I would have to disagree with myself at a higher level. But if we're considering this for absolute beginners, for people who really don't understand technical music theory, then we're going to say that A sharp, for the moment, it really is the same thing as B flat. We're going to say that C sharp is the same thing as D flat. We're going to say that D sharp is equal to E flat. We're going to say that F sharp is equal to G flat. And finally, we'll say that G sharp, running out of room here, is equal to A flat. And again, I just want to make that little disclaimer that if you know a bit more about music theory, you'll understand that all of this goes out the window. That's incorrect. But as a beginner, this is an absolutely appropriate way to think about things if you don't know very much. So these notes are enharmonic. They are the same thing. So one of the questions that I get asked often is, well, why in the world do we need to have two names for the same note? What is that whole thing about? And I wanted to take a little bit of time here to kind of discuss what that is about and why we have that. So let's kind of understand that. Let's see. If I think about where I live, there is a certain highway that I have, or highway that I travel. And on that highway, let's kind of draw just a little picture of it. Let's say this is the highway. And it turns out that there is a county on this side, and there's a county on this side of the highway. And if you happen to be on this highway and you're going to this direction, the street name is a different name than if you went this direction. And so it's really interesting. We can consider that we would have one street with two different names. One street with two different names. And it really just depends not so much on the direction, but what side of the highway that you're on, because the county line actually kind of essentially follows the highway. So it's one street with two different names, and this actually goes all up and down the highway. So there's actually multiple streets, and on each side of the highway, there's a different name. It doesn't mean what direction you're going. So, for example, if I was going this direction, let's call this direction east. And if I was going east, the street name here, we'll call it just street name X. And maybe on this side, it would be street name. Maybe on this side, it would be street name Y. And so it doesn't tell me, because I could also be going east on Y, or I could be going east on X. So what it does tell me, though, it is a little bit of a locant. If I have one street with two different names, and if I told you that I wasn't X, what you do know for absolutely certain is you know that I am on the east side of the highway. And if you don't know what direction I'm traveling, you certainly don't know, am I going east, am I going west? We're also assuming that, I suppose, in my little diagram here, that this is north. And if I had said that I was on street name Y, then you would understand, oh, okay, he is on the west side of the street, But again, you wouldn't know, is he heading east, is he heading west? You don't know, but you do know at least what side of the road I'm on. So that's the best analogy that I can give to you for this moment for why we have enharmonic notes, is sometimes it helps us to give a little bit of a locant, or it gives us a little bit of an idea about where we're going or what we're doing with that note, versus if I just use the notes in random. So there is an actual purpose for why we have two different notes. Two different names for notes, A sharp and B flat, why we have enharmonic notes. But suffice it to say that it's not possible to explain for absolute beginners. You need a lot more music theory. You need to be able to understand how to read notes and all that kind of good stuff. In the next video, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some more of this idea and really begin to understand where this is useful and how this really works for us. Thanks for listening.